Dear listeners, welcome to 拙见园, Garden of Humble Views. In the second episode, I want to talk about a headline went viral on social media in China these days. In fact, this is not my original plan for the second episode, but I feel I really want to talk about this because it triggered immense public anger and fury, and also myself feel very pissed off every time I see something about this on social media. On the 19th of September, the famous outdoor brand Arrogance organized a big art show inviting the famous Chinese firework artist 在拙见园 and did a huge firework performing show called Rising Dragon. The show used continuous linear fireworks to symbolize the shape of the Chinese dragon and supposed to be very impressive and beautiful. Apparently, the brand wants to use this show to create some eye-catching headlines, to promote the business in the Chinese market, and also to please the Chinese customers. And for the artist, he also wants to use this occasion and the money given by the brand to create something for himself to fulfill his artistic ambition. To be honest, I'm neither a fan of this artist nor a buyer of this brand, so I couldn't care less about this commercial event. The reason why this event triggered so much public anger is because of the location. The whole fireworks show was done on the Tibetan Plateau at the foothill of Himalaya Mountain, 5,500 meters above the sea level. Apparently, neither the brand nor the artist realized this was such a bad decision, and they posted a video of this great show on their official social media, bragging about the huge success and talking about they want to raise awareness on environmental protection through the fireworks show. After posting the video on their official social media channel, it did attract millions of clicks as they wanted, but people's reaction are the opposite. Instead of having people praising about the show, talking about the beautiful color, discussing about how impressive the scene is, everyone is angry and furious, questioning about what's wrong with your mind to think about such a stupid idea that destroys our environment, and who the heck authorized you to do such terrible thing. The public relation of the brand and the artist himself realized it's getting very serious, so they deleted the video on the social media and also posted a statement explaining the planning and execution of the event. The statement claimed that all the material they use for the firework are actually colored powders, which are also biodegradable. And in order to not hurt local animals, they even using some food that attract animals went away from their habitat, and then blow up the mountain with their firework. And after that, they moved some soil elsewhere to cover the hole they dug on the ground for the installation. Let's say they're telling the truth, that all the material are environmental friendly, but the alpine meadows ecosystem in Tibet are extremely fragile. Maybe it will only need a few months for those material to be degraded in nature in other regions, but it may take decades or even hundreds of years in the Himalaya region because of its special climate. Also, the sound made by the explosives had a huge impact on the local animals, like small mammals and birds. The ground of Tibetan Plateau is covered by vegetation that grow very slowly. The digging and installation of the fireworks did huge damage to these poor plants, and the process of nature repair will take a very long time. We can also reasonably say that for this official launch of the event, they probably already did several rounds of rehearsal. The damage may be much more than what we see. This is a simple recap of the event, and is still developing. A discussion around this event has been on the top trendy discussion on Chinese social media for 2 days, and I don't see any sign of stopping. From this ridiculous and disgusting news, what I see is the arrogance of the artist, the mercenary face of the company, and the collapsed credibility of the local government. Without the close collaboration of these three key players, we won't end up in this terrible situation. even at least one of them having any sense of environmental protection, this tragedy won't happen. Now, I want to talk a little bit about these three players. Maybe it's good for you, the listeners, to understand a little bit who they are, so can also help us better understand why this disaster happened. Let's first look at the brand, Arrogance. It is a Canadian company, founded in 1991 in North Vancouver. It specializes in outdoor equipment for hiking, trekking, and climbing. The name and the logo of this brand actually comes from the shape of that very famous fossil. I think you may know about this fossil. It is a complete skeleton of a small dinosaur that provided us the evidence of the transition from dinosaur to bird. So I remember it very clearly because I read about this on my encyclopedia book when I was a kid. And I also have the chance to see some pictures in the history museum I used to visit it. The brand started to enter the Chinese market in the late 2010s and portrayed itself as a high-end outdoor clothing for middle and upper classes. And I have to say it's actually very expensive. I think I will never buy. In 2019, the Chinese company Anta Sports bought Arrogance and started its further business expansion in China. If you go to big cities like Beijing and Shanghai, you can see huge stores of Arrogance at the fancy shopping mall in the city center. I still remember when a flagship store newly opened in Shanghai, people were actually queuing in front of the shop for an hour to enter. And the shop also invited many TikTok influencers to do live broadcasting to promote the brand. But this is the bad side of running business in the era of social media. People do anything to catch attention and to get on the headlines, because clicks equal money. As an outdoor brand, Arrogance have been always trying to brand themselves as a company care about environment, and particularly the mountain environment. That's why they invited Cai Guoqiang, this very famous artist, to do this great greenwashing freak show to maximize the exposure on social media. But in the end, the show worked on a completely different way. This actually reminds me of a very famous line in a Chinese TV series I really like, 潜伏 lurk. 本来想露脸，结果把屁股露出来了。This sentence means you went up on the stage and want to show your face, but oops, you showed your ass. I think after this ridiculous and disastrous event, the brand will surely taste the bitterness. Another leading actor of this drama is, of course, the firework artist Cai Guoqiang. He is surely a very famous artist. I think his most well-known work by Chinese people must be the firework at the opening ceremony of Beijing Olympic in 2008. He is also the chief designer of the firework show for the 60-year anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. 10 years later, he was also in charge of the design for the firework at the celebration of the 70 years anniversary. Look at all these big projects he's been involved. He's supposed to be a very respectable and renowned artist. Even myself liked some of his work. I still remember 17 years ago in Beijing, the firework took the shape of footprints, and they light up the sky one by one, go towards the Olympic Stadium. At the end of the ceremony, the beautiful firework light up the whole sky, and I believe that was a shared memory for all Chinese at that moment. We share the same feelings that we are very happy and excited from our heart for Beijing hosting this very important mega event, and also we are very proud of our nation, proud of our achievement. I also remember when Museum of Art at Pudong was newly opened in 2021. The selected work by Cai Guoqiang was also among the first rounds of exhibitions. I'm just so confused why he did such bad decision to put this firework show at the foot of Himalaya Mountain with a super fragile ecosystem. Does he think that his work is more important than the protection of nature? For him, is it more important to show his work to everyone, regardless the cost? Does he have any awareness and sense of responsibility as an artist and celebrity? After the explosion of this news, he posted an apology letter on his social media, saying that he did his work with a full respect to nature. But to be honest, I didn't see any respect. I only see this self-centered and arrogant artist only care about showing his work and doesn't have any mercy for nature and the ecosystem. The mountain, the water, the nature is not your white canvas where you can put your arrogant paint as you want. Since the breakout of the news, the Chinese netizens have managed to reach a consensus on criticizing the brand and the artist. People saying we should boycott Arcteryx, and some people started to attack the artist on his website and social media. But I think the worst actor in this tragic event is the incapable local government. To be honest, for me, I never expect the business or the capitalist have any social responsibility. They just don't care about environment. The only thing in their eyes is profit, it's money. I also don't expect the self-centered artist who only cares about their own work have any sense of the environmental issue. But the public body, the local authority, the government should be the one regulate such activities. I've been keep asking, is there any report of environmental assessment? Did it go through a public hearing process? Is there any involvement of scientists and ecologists in the evaluation process before it's too late? Actually, some journalists already had the same question and interviewed the local authorities asking about is there any environmental impact assessment carried out before the event. The local authorities said, because they are using biodegradable materials, so there is no need to have the assessment period. I'm really shocked by this response. I just cannot believe it comes from local authorities. These local authorities manage this territory, which is very fragile and precious. I can even reasonably suspect that there may be some corruption and bribe in this process. The local government was offered some monetary benefits and gave a fast pass to the companies and the artists to do this ridiculous freak show. I read some news article online saying that originally the artists want to put this show in Fuji Mountain in Japan, but the local authorities rejected for environmental concern. But then, it took place at the foot of Himalaya Mountain, where the ecosystem is even more fragile. No matter how many official statements they're going to issue to explain the situation, and no matter what kind of thorough investigation they claim they're going to do, I just don't believe them anymore. This is what I mean by collapsed credibility. In the end, I really hope that the local officials who approve this event will get punishment they deserved. The brand will lose their market share, and the artist will learn his lesson, repent for his wrongdoing, and contribute to the nature restoration. On the other hand, I'm also very surprised to see such a big scale of public discussion and debate about the environmental issue. At least this is a good sign of awakening environmental awareness. I just hope the public can be less forgetful. I don't want to be the news that people talking about it on the headlines just for a few days and then forget it completely. As what I said in the first episode of my podcast, this is a very personal channel where I gave a lot of personal insights, opinions, and even emotions. But I think it's also not so personal because I believe and I hope my listeners can also share this feeling with me, particularly on some issue like the environmental one we're talking about today. I'm Fei Ran. See you next time in 拙见园.